What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Own It with me, your host, Samantha Warren. I am really excited today to talk all about this blend of being both an educator and an entertainer, and why I truly believe this is a sweet spot for being a voice today, whether you consider yourself a thought leader or a media personality or a little bit of both. I think that there has been this feeling of like we need to be one or the other. We need to either be this really professional, serious educator, or we need to be this fun, charismatic personality that's a storyteller. And I am here to give you full send permission that you truly can be both. You can be both the educator and the entertainer. And today we're going to talk about how to do that, how to actually make it feel natural, and how to blend both giving value to your community, to your audience, to your listeners, to your viewers, but also telling stories and using your real life experience to really influence the people that are tuning in. I think that if your content is just purely educational, you lose the listener because we don't just read or listen to like a textbook, right? If you remember as a kid, you're like, I'm bored. You're in history class and you're just learning straight facts. But what actually draws you in and why you likely listen to my show is because I tell stories, and stories are what make people feel connected. And so if we can leverage the art and the strategy of podcasting to both tell stories and teach, that's really like the gold and what we're going to talk about today. So I said if your content's just educational, it's going to be boring. It's going to lose your listener. But also knowing that you have a unique message to share, and whether you're building a brand or a business around your voice or around your show, you also have some stories. You have some value as well. But you're not just an influencer. And so just telling stories, just being entertaining, just being an influencer is also not going to work. So we need to bring the two together. And I think it's really easy to get caught in one identity or the other. I know that I've really struggled with like bringing these two identities forward and finding that overlap. I kind of see it like a Venn diagram where one circle is educator, one circle is entertainer, and you or me or us, we are really trying to operate in the edutainer. So it's like if I have these two circles, you're that middle spot, that middle part of the Venn diagram. And what does it look like to be an edutainer? It means to give value and to teach lessons through the lens of story. So rather than just talking at people, you are actually showing people the lesson. And this does require you to be the living embodiment of your message, which is why you kind of can't get away with just teaching, because you actually need to fully embody the lessons. Okay. So we're gonna start off with this. Like, one of the main things that I really wanted to hit upon is that just educational based platforms, they really do hit a visibility ceiling. I think purely just because people get bored. And if this is you right now, this is not to call you out in a bad way. It's really to just say that people listen to shows because they resonate with the host. Period. They resonate with the host, and then they will resonate with the guests. But more information does not move people, and it does not make them feel connected to you. But actually, the emotion is what gets people in, right? An example of this: when our ancestors were hanging out before there was social media, before there was any media, they were hanging out by the fire telling stories. And in those stories is where me or you would have felt drawn in and felt connected and like part of something. Right now, more than ever, with AI, with the digital media and social media landscape, I don't know about you, but I am feeling like, oh my God, I just want someone to tell me the fucking truth and make me feel like, oh, I get it. This person is so real. I feel connected to them, and not, oh, there's this person on a pedestal teaching me this thing. And it's like, I feel like we are over that. And so moving into what I'm talking about of being an edutainer is, it's actually not enough anymore, I don't think, to just teach without story, without you. We need you also in the content. We need why are you even podcasting on this? Why are you even speaking on this? Why are you even creating on this? And I see this time and time again I have clients that come to me and feel like there's a dissonance between who they are, in real life and who they are online. And this has been a journey for me too. My God, over the last 10 years of creating content. But, and I usually look at their stuff and I'm like, it's missing you. It's either missing them or it's so much them. And it's like, how do we find that middle ground? And I really do think that's the edutainer archetype, which is really what I want to help you uncover and unlock in yourself today. So let's talk about the difference between a teacher and an edutainer, okay? Because I think likely you are listening because you have something to teach, you have a body of work to teach, you have concepts you want to teach, and there's also this desire to get that work out into the masses. You're not just trying to exist in a little bubble and only help a few people. You're here because you want to make a lot of impact. So how do we do that, right? I think the way that I see it is a teacher will explain concepts. Think about it like a teacher's on the front of the room and they're drawing the circle, MC squared, whatever they're teaching, right? An edutainer actually teaches them, but also embodies them. And so when I am really acting as creative director for the shows that I help work on, I ask them, what is going on in your life? Like, what's happening? What's alive for you? What are the things going on either in the world, like current events? What is happening with your clients? What's happening in your relationships? What's happening that your listener is like going to want you to peel back the curtain and talk about that? Okay. So I'll give you a perfect example. I have a client who recently just went through a health scare with her dog. And she did not want to share that with her audience. She felt like they wouldn't care, or like it was not safe to really be vulnerable in that way. And I told her, I was like, look, I think this thing is going to be the thing that magnetizes so many people to your page, because you are pulling back the curtain, you're sharing a story, because she wanted to talk about the power of like taking care of your animals and feeding them whole foods and just like all the things that can happen when you have an animal and how do you take care of it and nourish it and all of that. So I was like, let's actually pull back the curtain, talk about the fact that, your dog has this health thing and what people can do to help their dogs, and or just give them a story. We just want to give them a story to connect. So she listened to me, which I'm very grateful, because when she put out the content that announced that her dog was sick and was going through this health thing, the amount of love and the influx of support, I mean, the comments, the virality of her content, it went like off the chain. And logically, it doesn't make sense to share this personal thing. But from the lens of trust building and storytelling, it makes perfect sense. It does, because we are social beings. We love understanding what is going on behind the curtain. We're like super nosy. This is why reality TV is a thing, whether you watch it or not. We are so invested. We want to know people's morning routines. We want to know what products they use. We want to know what's going on with them. We are so over this like fake, polished, perfect thing. We want to actually fall in love with the person. And then if we like what they have to buy, then it's just an easier yes, right? And so moral of the story is like she was edutaining on the fact that, okay, how do we actually take care of our pets? How do we take care of our animals, et cetera, and used her personal story, and it landed. And so the next time you go to either make content, hop on the mic, make sure that you are connecting it to something about you, because people don't care. They don't buy the thing. They buy why you do it, right? I'll give you another example from my own personal life. I started my page and I started my podcast back in fitness, and I shared so much about fitness and healthy eating and living a balanced lifestyle. And once I started to realize that, yes, my expertise is valued, but more than that, my expertise paired with my own personal experience of how I think, of how I see the world, when I brought those two things in together, that is when everything clicked. Like people were like, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. Oh my gosh, I think the same way. I started to reveal parts of my personality or parts of how I thought. And what that made me be is a thought leader, is, oh, I'm sharing the expertise, the studies that I do, and I'm also sharing my own personal experience, knowing that not everything works for everyone. There is no one size fits all in anything, in business and health and relationships. There is no one size fits all. There's general principles, but unless we bring in our own unique perspective, there's a million other people could be listening to. So why would they want to listen to you? They want to listen to you because it's you. And I think for you to truly have the identity of being somebody that people want to listen to and learn from is going to help you tap into this edutainer identity, which blends story and teaching. It blends value and your own experience. Because let's not forget, like, you are on planet Earth to go through some really hard shit, to take it, to alchemize it, and to use it for purpose. That is really the purpose of life, is to find the shit in your life and turn it into gold, and to have fun doing it, and to be like, how can I have as much fun as possible doing this? And so if you want to enjoy this thing called business and this thing called brand growth, then we have to involve you in it. We love talking about ourselves. It's just human nature. And people love hearing that. As long as you are, if you go back and listen to episode 335, as long as you are respecting the listener, because at the end of the day, it's not just about you, but we need to bring you into your show, into your content. We can't just leave you out of it, or else people could go anywhere. So we need to anchor all of your content with you, right? Why do you think this matters? Why do you want to teach this? What is it that is actually like calling your heartstrings to teaching this? Okay. I hope this is landing for you. The last thing that I want to kind of wrap this in a neat bow is that there is a difference between, getting on the mic and talking about yourself and hoping people like it. And there's a difference between that and being a leader, sharing your point of view, sharing your perspective, telling stories, and educating. And if you are on the mic because you want the validation and you want people to like you and you want people to like what you have to say, I want to let you know that you are going to be disappointed forever, and it is going to be an endless hamster wheel of feeling frustrated. Instead, I want you to use the name of the show, Own It, and I want you to own your expertise. I want you to own your genius. I want you to own what you know, the things that you like would talk to with your friends, you talk to with your clients, you already are embodied in, and speak it into the mic, because nobody is going to know you and the power that you hold and the genius and your unique perspectives if you don't tell them. You can't wait for somebody to just come find you. I think that sometimes in business and leadership and in the media world, we're like waiting for somebody to find us as the talent, but nobody will know that we exist unless we put ourselves out there and we clearly demonstrate, oh, I'm this. I'm really good at this. This is my genius. Another example, I went to an event this past weekend, and one of the women that was there, she was a photographer. And so we were talking and she was taking photos of me, and I actually wore something that I would never normally wear. It was like definitely a little bit more hippie for me. But I wanted to get outside my comfort zone, and I was like, I'm going to wear something I don't normally wear. Okay, cool. And it was cold and it was fuzzy and I loved it. And so I wore it, and I told her that I was like, I would never really wear something like this. So it's really interesting that you're here taking photos and I'm in this outfit that I wouldn't normally wear. And she's like, oh, what does that bring up for you? What does that mean for you? And so we started talking about like how we're perceived. And so at the end of the few photos that she took of me, I asked her, I was like, okay, so tell me more about like your work. There's a million photographers. Tell me more about you. So she goes on, and then she starts telling me about the fact that she helps capture people in a multi-dimensional way, meaning that we have many different sides, right? We have different like archetypes, if you will. And I was like, wait, I love this. She's like, yeah, every photo shoot, I will shoot somebody with a different element in mind. So every shoot, there's a fire, there's a water, wind, air, earth, whatever, all the elements. And we'll kind of change outfits and change styles based on the element to really capture the multi-dimensionality of the person. And I looked at her and I was like, what do you mean? This is this is amazing. Like, you need to talk more about this. I had no idea based on your content. And she was like, oh, haha. She's like, yeah, I've been hiding a little. So I told her she's going to come on the podcast. So shout out to Candace. She's going to come on the show. We're going to talk about this. But, I'm using her as an example because there is something, a unique way that you see the world, a unique thing that you do that you might just be overlooking because you're so used to thinking that you're just like everyone else, because maybe you've spent your whole life trying to be like everyone else. But in the world of brand building, in the world of media, in the world of business, you can't be like everyone else. You need to be your weird, unique, eclectic self. And even if you don't associate with those words, you need to just be who you are. And you need to fully own that, because that is going to be the thing that draws people in. I used to judge myself for being too authoritative or too leadery. And I realized that's actually just who I am, whether I'm on camera or off camera, whether I'm with you in person or working with you online, or if I'm on my podcast or in the kitchen with my husband. That's just who I am. And so can you allow yourself to be who you are on the mic, share your genius and your story? That is truly what makes an edutainer. And I believe that it's what's really going to work in 2026. And it's going to be the most sustainable, because who doesn't like telling stories? Who doesn't like hearing stories? That's what we feel connected to. That's what creates this subconscious tie of, I feel connected to this host. I feel connected to this show. I want to keep listening and I want to share it. Okay. So I hope these stories that I've interwoven into this, I did it in this episode. I literally did what I'm telling you to do in this episode. Go back and listen to this episode again and hear it through the lens of the edutainer and actually just dissect what I just did. And you'll see, oh, she blended teaching and story. That's what I want you to do in your episodes. That's what I want you to do in your content. That is what's going to land for your people. It's going to be fun. It's going to be sustainable. And honestly, it's going to convert, especially if you have a business. People are going to want to work with you if you blend these two things in. Okay. If this episode resonated, you know what to do. I've already been asking you guys to tag me, take a screenshot of this and tag me in your stories, which you all have been doing. So thank you. Truly, I told you I'm going to make this show the #1 leadership show on all the ratings. So I'm doing it. We're doing it. I'm doing it with your help. Thank you. I've had people text me and say, I've sent it to all my friends, screenshotted it and tagged me. So please do that. My handle is the Samantha Warren. Please help this show grow. I really want to get these messages out into the world. I love you guys. Thank you. And I will see you next week. Okay, bye.